I have I tried it. I he said he was very happy with her, so I wanted to see. I have read my wedding. It took me 2 years, and anyone else now is 22. Right. And it took me over 2 years. So I had 2 big Oh, I saw it. I heard.
Speak during citizens' requests. Speakers are allotted 3 minutes to present their initial comments. All meetings will be recorded auditorily and visually. Roll call, please.
Ms. Book?
Here.
Mrs. DePew?
Here.
Mr. Lar?
Here.
Mr. McCallum will not be joining us. Mr. Nagy? Mr. Dobrowski?
Here.
Mr. B? Mayor Noah?
Here.
Mr. Furman?
Here.
Mr. Russmeisel?
Here.
Alyssa, would you check if there's any citizens requesting?
Sorry.
One citizen that would like to speak tonight, Lacey Thomas.
Lacey Thomas, 4708 Baldwin Manor Road. First, quick request to have a traffic study done at the intersection of Baptist and Old Boston, right in front of the entrance to the Union Building. There is a marked crosswalk There is no signage. We have a lot of kids that cross over from the Baldwin Manor side of the community over into Union Park, and nobody stops. I stand there with my kids consistently every day to walk them to camp. Not that they're not old enough to walk to camp themselves, but because cars will not stop. So even when I stand there, cars will not stop. So I would love to see if there's something more that we can do at that intersection to make it a little bit more visible. I know from past meetings, it takes a little bit of time.
Baptist Road is also the state.
State, right.
And if you're talking about what happened on Wayman Road at the time, that was all state approved, and I think that was a 6-month project.
Totally understand that it might be a long process, but was hoping that we might be able to get the ball rolling on a request. Extra signs, maybe even just
The mayor lives across the street from you, so.
repainting. Well, I'm here to go through my official channels and put it before the board. So that was that request. Other just general question. We all receive these in Brentwood, Baldwin, Whitehall magazines, right? So there's ads and businesses in the front, great for our local community. There's things about the school district. There's things about Brentwood. There's things about Baldwin. There is nothing in here about Whitehall.
Yeah.
And I was curious as to why. Have they not asked us? Because I know this is a business. But
Let me say, you're coming at this like all new. I started,
no.
yeah, I started in this. Who do you think does the,
No. I understand.
okay, no.
We
reason
have our
we-
own
reason-
magazine, but
reason
we
we-
could also be in this that other boroughs get and learn about us. So I just wanted to know if that's a possibility that we could have some more visibility in the
you wanna pay
community.
additional money.
So essentially, what you said, what Lacey is saying is, it comes out when, quarterly or monthly? It's come out monthly.
This one comes out quarterly
Okay, so
and ours does not.
we come out twice a year. The question is whether there's some reason to have something that comes out 4 times a year as opposed to 2 times a year. So, yeah, that's certainly,
No, I
certainly a legitimate request.
Yeah,
I can tell you a bit of history. behind
sure.
that.
That's great. That's what I'm asking for.
Many years ago, a magazine such as it was before In magazine came out, approached the borough. They wanted to do something similar, the ads. We signed up for it. A year later, it had never been printed. And it kind of left a bad taste in people's mouths about going with an outside company. So we went with our own magazine. And
Sure.
I don't know that we've ever thought about it afterwards, but you've brought it up and we will consider it. But that was kind of the history behind it. We signed up to do it and it fell through on us, and we
Sure.
went for like a year without getting anything.
I get that. And I appreciate that. But yeah, it'd be nice to get other communities around us to hear about the great things that we're doing as well, since it goes to all the other communities. So thank you very much. That's all I had.
Thank you. There were no other citizens that signed up, so we'll move on then to bills and payroll, these words.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administrative Services, Mr. Nagy. Planning and Zoning, Mr. D. Public Safety, Mr. Nagy. Public Works, Mr. Lar.
In order.
Recreation, Ms. Book.
In order.
Library, Mr. Dabrowski.
In order.
Sanitary Sewer Fund, Mr. Lar.
In order.
Ask for a motion to approve bills on the bill list dated July 19th, 2023 from the general fund totaling $213,329.11 and from the sanitary sewer fund totaling $118,536.19.
So moved. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And I'd also ask for a motion to approve general checks and transfers to be ratified from the general fund totaling $58,831.74 and from the payroll fund in the amount of $55,701.72 for a grand total ratification in the amount of $114,533.46.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
We'll also ask for a motion to approve payable for the pay date of July 14th, 2023 in the amount of $179,700.30.
So moved. Was that seconded?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions on the payroll? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And there is no return list cash.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the July 5th meeting.
I move that the minutes of July, would you say the 12th?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's coming before 12. Be approved as is.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Does anyone have any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now move on to the July 12th meeting.
I move that the July 12th meeting stay approved as is.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. First item I have is the June Animal Control Report. The police received 82 animal complaints for the month of June. 59 were referred to South Coast Animal Control, which represents a 6.92% system usage, and that's about average, maybe a little bit above. Calls related to white-tailed deer. We had 11 deer removal, and then these 14 complaints involving wildlife. Are they deer or other than deer? Majority are deer, 14 complaints, and then 11 deer were removed in the month of June. On June 13th, Juvenile Officer Smith participated in Handle with Care workshop hosted by the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. Handle with Care is a national initiative designed to create effective communication between police and school personnel to better support students exposed to traumatic events outside of school. On June 18th, Officer Cease completed 8 hours of quarterly in-service training with the Shakov accident team. Chief Gregoric was selected to participate on the search committee for the next program manager of the Justice and Safety Institute at Penn State University. The Institute provides training, education, and consulting services to thousands of law enforcement and criminal professionals in the United States and abroad. So congratulations, Chief.
Yeah, congratulations.
Can you give us an update on the 3 Good Samaritans over on Ballman? Have they elected to receive their awards privately as well?
Yes, and they are on vacation.
Okay. So
They were very humble and thankful and bashful.
So you'll deliver that when they come. Okay. All right. I'd like to remind everyone that Tuesday, August 1st is National Night Out, and to please be out and about, and hopefully the fire company and the police will be out and about on National Night Out, because we depend on you, the public, in order to solve crimes. I can tell some stories, but I don't think the president will want to hear that. Will allow me. But there's stories about how individual citizens, seeing something in their neighborhood and communicating with our dispatch center, we were able to solve crime. So please recognize how important you are. Please be out and about on National Night Out. I wanted to make a comment about Lacey's request with Old Boston. There are a lot of kids that come from that plan. I see them walking. Obviously, I live in that neighborhood, and I see and I work across the street, and so I see a lot of young people coming down through there. Now, I don't know if that's a place where they can stop, like on Wayman Road, Chief, but hopefully we can look into it and see if we can do anything to make that intersection.
Well, others are supposed to yield to pedestrians and crossing.
All right, so maybe through enforcement or something else, but you know, we can.
We get some signage put there, man.
Okay, I believe that that's all I have at this time.
Any questions of the man?
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped, I'm so sorry. I'd like to recognize Skip Brown, the secretary of the Whitehall Fire Company,
Thank you, Mr.
with the
Mayor.
report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So far, we have 332 calls this year. We're on the pace to exceed our 508 last year. It continues the same pace. Good news, we have 32 active members. We took on 3 new members in the past 2 months
That's good.
for it. You may or may not be aware, our assistant fire chief, Brian Pearson, who's a Whitehall Public Works employee, was recognized as a life member. And what a life member is 20 years service. Out of his 20 years, Brian has been a line officer for 13 for it, so he's invaluable for us. Our fund drive, which is going on, is progressing. So far, we received 1,400 donations at $106,000. The dollar amount is higher by about $2,000 from last year, but the number of donations is down. We raised the request from $60 to $70, so our number of people donating, are down. So we have like 1,400 in with 6,000 mailings that went out. We are grateful for residents who donated, and we hope more donations will come. We really need fund drive because the past month we spent $8,000 on preventative maintenance for 3 of our trucks, for pump testing, minor repairs. We also spend, and this is the annual expenditure, $4,000 to test our hose and ladder and aerial equipment. That's required by the NFPA for us to remain certified. We also applied for grants. One grant was for Duquesne Light, replace lights in the fire hall stairways in the fire hall in 51. It's code, the lights have to be on every time. These are not LED lights. So we applied to replace those. It will save on energy. And also the general lights in our fire hall to go to LED. And this, by personal experience, by doing my home, I've saved like 30% off my electric bill for that. So we hope we can do the same there. We applied for another grant from Schnee Reinhardt for a thermal imaging camera for that. And since Ms. Bowers here, we look forward to participating in Community Day on August 12th. So just let us know if you need anything. And then this fall, we're going to have another training session up in Butler County with live burning. And Allegheny County does not allow live burning. You'd have to go through the health department and they deny permits for it. So we got to go up to Butler County to do actual live burns to train our firefighters. So we'll be doing that this fall. That's all.
Any questions, Skip? Any more to luck getting businesses to make donations?
Believe it or not, we made an effort and some actually have come through. I won't mention any in public, but pleasantly surprised. A large apartment complex gave us a larger donation in the past. And a lot of facilities around here, the newer facilities that open up have donated to us.
That's great. That's good news.
If I may, Madam President, something that you may not realize, you hear these numbers, you hear what Skip reads to you. When I was the heaviest firefighter in my time, which is less than 20 years ago when I fought a fire alarm, we had about 150 calls. Now you're up, did you hear the number? 500 and something, and it's climbing. That's because everybody in this community, these fire companies, had to go in and make sure that each one helps each one. Because you're lucky to get that many names. We had 20, and 25 puts us out of business by this charter. But they've gotten more. The fire company gets a lot of money from the borough and supports them. We agreed to pay $1.7 million for a new aerial truck in 4 years. If we paid for it and bought it 4 years from now, it'd be $350 million. It's $170 million now. So you see how the prices go. You have how many, Skip?
Um,
Fundraisers?
Yeah, so far 1,400 donations out of
Okay.
6,000.
You have 1,400. There's 6,800 residents off, in buildings with residents in them and the businesses. They pay nothing. Nothing, I tell you. How can you keep a fire company that has to buy that kind of equipment? An outfit use about $2,000. Then you have to have insurance on everybody. We've always had a walk-around policy that I created 50 years ago, where you have a 40, now it's down to 40,000 or 20,000, depends who you are. You live with that, even my age, you have one of those. That will bury us if you use it for nothing else. I created that a long time ago. We buried many of our firemen with that kind of money. But nobody realizes what it takes. You hear these numbers up here, you hear the borough jump in, and this is one of the few communities that support their fire company, like we do, and have done. Maybe because I've been sitting up here for a long time. Or maybe when I was the president, I was out there every meeting, making sure. So if you spread that around, people need to know. You don't contribute, someday there may not be a white truck in front of your house. And we'll be able to find one.
Can I say one thing? My name's Jeff Morrison, 4770 Fritsch. Phil, you know me. If more residents in here, obviously, if they didn't donate, I'm sure it's been discussed in the past. You said 1,400 out of 6,000. If more residents donated, that would probably prohibit in the future maybe a fire tax being added on to the borough residents.
But you're headed that way, and I would tell anybody that's coming in new, between me being as active as I've been for 30 years in here, and 53 in the fire company, you are going to have and I'm on the board of directors at Mercy Ambulance Service, you are going to have a tax there, and you're going to have a tax for the fire company. Like it or not, there's going to be no other way.
Hi, Cindy Gunther, 4819 Old Boston. So we all, probably most everybody here has been on the Whitehall Borough Community Group or several different Whitehall pages on Facebook. Over 5,000 members on the Whitehall Borough Community Group. And we have some sort of a social media campaign for raising the money for the fire department to ask people, young people, don't write out a check and send it in the mail.
Well, that's what we've been doing with the fund drive for every year.
Yeah, but do it on
Yeah,
social media.
We do.
Do it on Facebook.
We have it on Facebook and our website.
But the website, it's not enough to just put it on your website. Someone has to go to your website to want to make an attempt to do that. Put it out there where everyone's reading all this. You know, it's about the deer, it's about the pool, it's about everything in Whitehall. I don't know, it's a suggestion.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea, and I think they should try doing that. I think more than just if you are negging at it. I think it's a great idea. I think more that you get out like that, right?
Yeah, I think it would be more powerful if residents did that. And said, hey, look, we're gonna get behind the fire company.
Right.
Yeah.
If the fire company does it, it looks a little bit self-serving, you know, people, for whatever reason they haven't been giving, which is, they are the most dedicated. I mean, every time a fire alarm goes off at 3:00 in the morning, and you think, you know, that they're getting out of their beds and traveling. But there are some people that you know, are trying to make excuses, but I think if the residents, if the citizens of Whitehall say, hey, look, we were at a council meeting and we heard about, you know, the fire progress. We got to get behind the fire company. I think it'll have a much greater impact than if the fire company got on and said, would you help us?
What's really nice is, like, even probably everyone here has read that, the people from the guys from Waste Management, everyone knows who their garbage man is, and they tell people, like, someone sends them a message, and everyone can see it, and they'll say, well, my garbage should get picked up today. So, you know, it's kind of a neat thing if you had anyone at the fire station even.
I'm a member of both the pages.
Okay.
But what I try to do is be transparent, you know, about it. There's some criticisms going on there, and I'd have curbed myself and shoved them down. So I try to be an observer there.
It's touchy.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have some things to work on and think about, take back to your group. Thank you. Thanks for being up here and hearing this. Okay, we'll move on to our solicitor.
Thank you.
Thank you, I do not have a report.
And our engineer.
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a brief report this evening. The report's dated July the 14th. Jumping ahead, Overlook Park, item 4, just to make council aware, there is a pre-bid meeting next week on the 26th. We have been contacted by numerous general contractors, electrical contractors, plumbers, and HVAC contractors, so hopefully there is interest when it comes time for submission of a bid. Moving on to page 3, item 12, the pool construction. Obviously blessed with the weather. Focus has been on the cleanup, addressing punch list items, installing, or the plumber finished installing the on-demand hot water heaters this afternoon. Bottom line is the pool can be open Saturday.
And I'll jump over one time.
Now, that said, obviously there will be, work ongoing prior to the pool opening daily. We anticipate until all of the items, the punch list items are cleaned up. But yes, pool will be ready for Saturday.
And staff is
Bravo.
very excited.
And I would assume that Hannah will cover that under her report. That's all I have this evening. Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
It was brought to my attention, and I also noticed myself, a lot of cracks around our new pool. And I realize cracking in concrete is normal, but there's seems to be an abundance of those.
In the flat work,
Yeah, no soft work. Is that gonna be taken care of at some point? And do we, like,
I'm not aware of numerous cracks. There are a couple nuisance cracks, I would call them. I understand that nobody grinded and grouted and then caulked. Yeah, I'd like to go.
Crowded and hot?
Well,
How did you get in there getting these pictures? I didn't.
I walked in.
It doesn't matter, does it?
Yes, because I thought it was a construction site.
Just
And
for bills, that's what we're
only
doing.
the construction people were allowed in there.
Because you're a councilman, we don't have rights that violate the law.
Okay, well, like I said, I realize we're paying a lot of money, this is a high quality project and we want high quality work. So is the taxpayers gonna have to pay for recalling those or whatever you're doing?
well, the,
Or replacing them or
The
what's
bond issue, I think.
well, we have a punch list that's still gonna be addressed. Some items may be addressed even after the season closes. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
Thank you very much.
Any other
And
questions?
we have, like, the construction management company has, like, the temperature that was poured at, how long, like, when they cut it. They have test cylinders, all that, to make sure we didn't get inferior quality product and.
Yes, they would have documents and records, sure.
Anybody else have a question?
I'd like to add positive comments. When you're mayor, you don't have a vote, unfortunately. And they do in cities, but not in boroughs. So I can sit back and I can observe, what's going on, and I can share that with you. And now that the pool is about to open, I'd just like to share how hard this council has worked to get the pool that we have. All right, they had to make a lot of decisions. The first one was, do we renovate the pool or do we, build a new pool? And there was a lot of work done to come to that decision. And then there was a decision, how much community input should we get? And I actually am proud to say that I helped in that, and I think that it had some influence. I volunteered for all community interaction, and there were a number of people that had comments about the pool, and I divided them into 2 different groups, and some of those ideas were actually incorporated into the pool and shared with council. But council had to deal with how fast do we move? How much community input should we get? And I think they struck the right balance and moved, wanted to move the project forward. They were passionate about getting this done on time. And another issue was financing, okay? And they negotiated, Bob McCown in particular, and all the other council people. You can't get better than 2%. That's the borrowing rate for this pool. They did an outstanding job doing that. All the protections were put in place. We had a contract manager. There are provisions in the contract that had to be done by April. There are penalties for not doing it. There was a bond company that, we heard about last week. We were learning about some of the details of that had to come in. But that's the reason why you have a bond company, to make sure that it comes in on time. And frankly, 50 days or whatever it is not that long. So I've been pointing out to different people about another project. And I'm not saying this in any way critically, but the painter's school was to have come in, it was to be online in August of this year. And it's coming online in January. But that's just what happens. In construction projects, there are things that delay. And this is only 50 days. It is a beautiful facility, and it's colorful, it's inviting. When you drive by, it makes you want to, go up and jump in the pool. So I think that the people of Whitehall, again, from my observation, owe a great debt of gratitude to all the council people. 3 of them, unfortunately, are not getting a chance to continue. One of them, Bob McCown, as I said, negotiated that 2% rate. We were negotiating with different banks, and you can't get a better rate than 2%. So I just wanted to share my perspective now that the pool is opening up, that we owe this council a great debt of gratitude. That's why
Thank you. Sir, I hate interrupting the meeting to let you speak, because that just throws the whole meeting out. I did it last meeting, and I'll do it once more, but please come up and sign in to speak when the other citizens do.
Okay.
It does not make for a good meeting if we allow everyone to.
So I don't want to speak, I just want to ask 2 questions.
We appreciate it if you'd come up and sign in first, right now. But go ahead.
Okay.
What's your questions?
Okay, the 2 questions I'd like to ask is related to the pool. Have there been any extra charges or change orders approved for the pool?
Yes, there have.
Do you know about what the dollar amount is of that?
I don't have a copy of the payout application with me this evening. Trying to do some math real quick. I don't think you should guess, Mr. Osman. I can clarify at the next meeting.
Okay. And the other thing I just wanted to ask is.
It's a low percentage, a very, very low percentage.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, do you know how much legal costs the borough has incurred in dealing with some of the issues related to the pool?
I don't think we're through the bills, but it's ongoing, so I can look into it and clarify at the next meeting with Mr. Russell.
I don't think it's an exorbitant amount.
Well, I mean, I think the taxpayers, should know,
Well, we
what
have to
those
finish
amounts are.
everything up, and then information's free. It's open for everybody.
Sure.
I don't know if you were at the meeting, but when the whole issue of surcharge never took place, it was stated in an anonymous letter, it never took place. There wasn't any expenses that were paid by the borough because insurance picked up the attorney's fees. So just because attorney's fees were incurred doesn't mean that the taxpayers are going to pay it, because there are penalties for not coming in on time. So we'll see what happens. I just want to again give that perspective. So just know that every effort is being made to take care of the taxpayers. That's where we've always been. That's why the taxes have been so low for so many years.
Okay, we'll move on then to our manager's report. Reports.
Thank you, Mrs. President. I'd asked to table the first motion on my report in regards to credit card payments. The solicitor and I spoke earlier today, and there's some things we'd like to clarify before I feel comfortable asking council for a motion or to take action on that item. Or do we need a motion to table?
It's one of the agenda, yeah, motion to table is probably best.
Okay, so I asked for a motion to table.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions about tabling?
What do we tabling?
The credit card payments.
The credit card payment.
Just a question on the agreement, and just making sure that, you know, sort of button up things up before we come back with next week.
All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Next up on my report, the refuse and recycling contract. So after calculating all the available options, given the raw data at the last meeting, Waste Management is the low bidder for a bid that includes maintaining our automated refuse collection, moving to an automated recycling collection, maintaining the seasonal yard waste dumpster at Prospect Park, and maintaining our curbside leaf collection in the fall. Recycling toters will be purchased by Waste Management and delivered directly to the residents. I will schedule a meeting with Waste Management to discuss the logistics of that rollout and to coordinate that. But for this evening, I ask the council authorize the proper borough officials to enter into a 5-year agreement with Waste Management.
We'll make that motion.
Second? There's a motion and a second. Any questions about it?
Yeah, I do. I'll get it out there. Does this include the waste stuff, the recycling?
Yes, this includes trash, recycling, the yard waste dumpsters that are
No
seasonal.
matter what, we said that this is gonna be very difficult for senior citizens or people up in steeplechase or somewhere else.
There is a provision for medical exemptions.
No, I don't mean all that bullcrap. I have no reason why anybody that owns a garbage company needs to know about the health welfare of anybody in the community. I think that's a true violation of your rights. But the point is, I talked about it and I asked about it. I cannot accept that kind of move because they're the big garbage things. And I would bet you if we did a study, I would bet you probably 75, maybe 77% do not use that big garbage can, the big one for recycling. They don't. There's probably maybe 25% that use those big ones. So if they want the big ones, let them use it. If not, stay with the little basket so they can pick it up and move it. You're putting a hell of a burden on the residents that are older.
Well, I think the
And
other half
I'm
of
not
that
finished yet,
argument
Madam
is the
President.
price. That how much more can we afford to pay for it? Yes, we
It's
could continue.
$250,000, not a million and something like it was for garbage. Now, that was a some move. Now I kept asking that. I finally found at the last meeting, it was 250,000. Now, that's a lot of money. I'd like to have that. So will all of you. But I think on an outlet, and I remember Glenn's comment. We were ready to sell our sanitary stores to some water company. And then he said to us one day, just as we were ready to do that, he said, I don't want to do that because I think we're going to put our residents in a terrible bind when somebody knows, whoever the water company is, won't come out and fix your leaky sewer from your street and into the terrible water.
This is a little different because, first of all, we only had 2 companies bid on this project, only 2. There's a lot of garbage companies, only 2. So that tells you how tight the financials are for these types of things. Secondly, unfortunately, it's the way of the world. Third, I'm not a physicist, but I think it's easier to wheel something than
Exactly.
pick something up.
Exactly.
So you may have an issue with space, having a place to put your thing, but it's easier to wheel something, tip it, wheel it, balance it, than it is to pick something up like this. I think even the older people would
They drag it.
acquiesce to that.
I see the people.
Well, I'm just saying, so that's just
I
one
know.
thing, and there's really no way around it. It really doesn't matter what garbage company would bid on this. This is the way things are gonna go. There's just nothing you can do about it. We didn't like it when we first had to go to the large rolling bins. I remember a very significant person that used to be involved in the borough calling me up, raising hell about it. And a month later, he said, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world. You know, instead of crap laying all over the yard and blowing and raccoons getting into it, you wheel those big babies up there, people take them down, and 25%, that's not even close, so I'd say probably 80-90%. When I drive down the streets around the borough on garbage day, there's a bin in front of almost every house, so hey, there's just no way around it.
Can I ask
Around
you,
it.
we're gonna get different size.
There's one size for recycling.
Let's start that
Smaller.
again.
It's the smaller
It's
size.
Small.
So it's a middle size.
Yeah.
I just want to
You don't-
clarify the numbers that Mr. Lahr was speaking about. The difference between waste management and global environmental is about 250,000. But that is after a 210% increase from the current recycling price that we're paying now. So it's-
110%.
yes, increase, and then the difference between the two bidders is 250,000. So it's not $250,000 more, it's the difference between the two.
And I'm sure we're gonna have some issues initially. We know the issues we had when we had the big cars. The people are gonna adapt to it, it's gonna less expensive. This is the way it's where you're going. Everything is automated today. And I think people are gonna love it. I really do.
We just need to keep the borough involved. I think when you let our borough residents deal with the garbage company and not have us as a player, I think they're gonna have a much more difficult time. We need to be a player. They need to recognize that we'll be involved, that we're getting calls from us. We need to look after our residents.
They got them before, Jim, and they handled them. The borough handled them, and the garbage company handled them.
Right, I'm not
No
saying
reason
the
to
past
believe
one,
anything
okay.
different will happen.
All right, well, I don't know, there was some suggestion, in the discussions, when Bill first started bringing it up, it sounded like they want to go directly to the residents. And I'm just saying that we need to be a player in that and make sure that our,
Can you clarify maybe who and what is going directly to residents?
the garbage company, like, let's say I have an extra, well, I guess I would contact the garbage company.
Well, most
Who-
complaints or issues are called to the office, and then we relay that information directly to
Okay,
the
and that's-
supervisors.
and
We are
that's-
an intermediary between the residents and waste management. We prefer that most things be filtered through us. We feel that we're able
Okay,
to
and
act on them quicker and better for the residents.
that's gonna be the current system in the next one, right?
Correct, yes.
I just remember, Bill, when you brought it back from Shaycon, it sounded like, because I know Phil and I reacted right away, it sounded like that the borough was gonna be taken out of it and the garbage companies were gonna try to deal with our residents. If that's not the case and the situation's gonna continue, that's fine.
No, they only deal with them after going through court in a year if they want to make some arrangement.
All right,
If they
okay.
provide arrangements,
Okay,
the borough
all right,
says
so I'm
out.
just-
And as a resident, why would you want to get on any business queue who's called any business? I mean, yeah, you're sitting there, forever. You gotta get lunch. And we're calling the borough and we gotta give them a body in about 5 seconds.
All right, so that, all right, that's, like I said, it was something that Bill said when he came back, that sounded like that was the system, so. All right, we're gonna have the same system here. We're
I
good.
believe there's a motion and second on the floor.
So there's a motion, a second.
Just
All
for
in
the
favor?
audit, just to be clear, this is for the automatic.
This is to enter into a contract with Waste Management for automated refuse, automated recycling, seasonal yard waste dumpsters, and curbside leaf collection for 6 weeks in the fall.
5 years.
For 5 years, yes.
The leaf collection will still be
Curbside in the bags.
in the paper bags.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes.
Aye.
Anything else?
Yes, just 2 more items. As I indicated in my report, Mrs. Bauer and myself will be meeting with a representative from Congresswoman Summer Lee's office next week. So if there's anything that council would like us to bring to her attention, please let us know. I believe that's on Tuesday. And then last but not least, an update here on building maintenance. So the chief and I met with a representative from Roof Off today to review our current service agreement. And I wanted to make you aware that there are units in the library and on the administration level that are currently not functioning properly or at all. They are the 2 oldest systems in this building, and they are at the end and beyond their useful life. So I'm meeting again with Rick Rock, hoping next week to discuss an assessment of the building, looking at long-term maintenance and replacing and upgrading some equipment. So I hope to have some cost review by the next council meeting. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And that's all that I have.
Any questions, Ms. Brooks? Then we'll move on to our committee meetings, planning and zoning, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Madam President. Big issue our committee did meet prior to the meeting, tonight's meeting, and we have a concern regarding fencing, obviously, and the fencing that we are addressing at the current time is deer fencing, and what constitutes the proper labels for what is considered deer fencing. So what we would like to do, our recommendation of our committee is to refer back to the planning and zoning and let them readdress some of the issues, some of the concerns that we have today with fencing and deer. So if you recall, that came up with the presentation lady that our house has spoke regarding this. So we like that. As the planning and zoning committee does, they do bulletproof definitions.
You refer to the.
You're talking the planning commission.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Planning and zoning.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
Planning commission.
So we're gonna refer it back to them.
Okay.
All right. And also, turn to Scott here. He's got a memorandum he wants to read, or
Yes, thank you, Councilman. The staff requests council consider a motion to act upon 2023 SLD 05 Grove Point Phase 2 Fourth Amendment subdivision plan application. The applicant requests approval for a subdivision of Lot 23 of the Grove Point Phase 2 residential land development to establish property lines along party walls of 5 townhouse units under construction. At last week's planning commission meeting, the commission recommended conditional approval of this application, and the letter is included in a memorandum dated July 13th, 2023, which is part of your packet, as well as the subdivision application. Staff recommends council grant approval of the application subject to the following conditions. Borough engineers review letters. The applicant shall address all outstanding issues referenced in the borough engineers review letters dated July 5th, 2023 and July 12th, 2023 in a manner acceptable to the borough engineer. Any additional issues raised by the borough engineer shall be resolved to the satisfaction of the borough engineer. Number 2, the applicant shall address all outstanding issues referenced in the borough director of planning, zoning, and code enforcement memorandum dated July 7th, 2023 in a manner acceptable to the planning director. Any additional issues raised by the planning director shall be resolved to the satisfaction of the planning director, and the applicant shall agree to pay all professional review fees of the borough in connection with this application and approval. And that is staff's recommendation for this application.
that's all you got, Scott?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we approve 2023 SLD/05 Grove Point Phase 2 Fourth Amendment subdivision plan application 241/249 Seltzer Drive, subject to the conditions of the director of planning, zoning, and code enforcement memorandum dated July 13th, 2023.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I got.
Mr. Beelan, just had a clarification. You said you wanted the planning commission to review,
Well, they have been working on an ordinance.
the planning commission's already.
Yes, they've been working on it, yes. It's not an ordinance yet. They've been working on different fences and what defines as fence, ornamental fences, et cetera. And one of the things they have addressed in there is deer fencing. We wanted to tighten it up.
So they've already, this is basically an update, that's what it's worth. That's more an update of what the planning commission's doing.
You like to look?
Well, I wasn't sure if we needed a motion to
No, we
do there, that's why I was, my question.
I don't think we need.
Well, they're already working on it for me.
Something in our.
Sorry, I just want.
Now let's move on to library.
Hi, everybody. Christy Kuhn from the library. So this is, say it again.
It's a hello from the library.
Hello from the library. So we really only have 2 updates, but the major one is that this is our busiest month with children's activity and programming, and there are kids in and out of the library constantly. There's programming happening every evening, every weeknight evening, and on Mondays and Wednesdays, there's 2 different programs happening. So it's very busy. It's nice to see all of the activity and people coming in and out of the building. And then the other update is that we've launched our Whitehall Reads initiative, which is just a opportunity for people to read the same book. And this the book is Remarkably Bright Creatures, and it's there are a couple other tie-in events that will be happening this month and next month. So that's all. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
I'll move on to Public Works, Mr. Ryan.
Oh. Senator Hamilton, second what she was saying. I think they're absolutely fine doing a magnificent job. Is there anything special?
They're saying there is a motion for you in the agenda to
Yeah.
order the.
I mean, other than that.
Other than that, no, they're saying that.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the Public Works Supervisor to place an order for 2024 truck replacements.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, Mr. Ryan?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I forgot. There's one of our road crew guys built a new fancy sign from the stones that used to be around you see it, pretty good, huh? Yeah, I like it. It's nice, and Donnie is so good at it. Him and Martucci, from the stones from the swimming pool. Did the one down when you come into the building, and he did the one down there, and there's like 3 or 4 more, and I like this council to give our manager the authorization to allow him to take a couple of these and turn them into the same thing, especially around the borough building. Look at them, they're beautiful, and we're using the stone we had, so it's their time when they get time to use it. So I'd like to see that be accepted.
Continue. Thank you. Okay, Public Safety, Mr. Nagy, Mr. Reed, do you have anything? I know it's not your committee.
We've covered it all in my mind.
Okay. Recreation.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to introduce Hannah, Recreation Director.
I have no report this evening. I've been at the pool every single day this week, other than one field trip with summer camp. I'm just very excited for Saturday to see you all there. Saturday we open at 10 a.m. 10.
What did you say? Can you clarify what the proof of residency requirements are?
Proof of residency includes your license, a utility bill, a rental agreement, and if you have grandchildren that live with you, a custody agreement for that as well.
You mean or, don't you?
Correct.
Okay.
Or, yes. I don't need all of them.
Thank you.
Good move.
No, we have to follow. Okay. Any questions or comments?
Administrative Services, Mr. Nagy. Thank you. Parks Committee did meet last night. Gateway has done, Parks Committee came up over the past few months with several plans. And of course, they were rough, and Gateway turned them into 4 plans using our ideas so that all 4 plans are basically the same artistic work, I guess I'm trying to say. They kind of look similar. They may change a little bit. We may come up with a 5th one, but we're preparing to now meet with the all associations, the associations that use the park. And in September, we're going to have a meeting open to everybody to take a look at different designs and, green dot them or red dot them or say this would be great if we had one more parking space. So we're moving ahead with some kind of plan. This is all right now for Snyder which should be in the 5-year plan, because that's, you need to plan that far ahead to get grants. But we are gonna try to finish Overlook first. And, the cost of doing this construction is just really slowing us down. Okay, I have nothing else. Any new business to come before council?
Weather report for Saturday is 81 degrees. All sun. No rain. It's gonna be a great opening.
It is.
Mr. Weatherman, comment.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And thank you all for coming.
Wow.